Jean-Jacques, it's a pleasure to talk with you today.
Pleasure to me too. Thank you.
Can you give us a background on why you're involved with the Space Entrepreneur Focus?
I think that the goal is to give a platform to the young enterprise because unfortunately the young enterprise are always in the second league for journalists, and I think it's time for them to be on the first league.
Exciting times and interesting times for the space and satellite industry. What are your key issues today for Europe?
I think that there are a lot of issues, but clearly what happens in space is just what happens in the world. I think that there is no border between the change in space and the change in the world. We are now living in a world which is driven by data. Nobody can live anymore without data. My grandchildren, they are looking at all data on internet and so on. So for them, life is not possible without getting access to data. Unfortunately for space is the only tool which is able to provide data collected from all over the world and distributed to any other point in the world. And that, it's a fantastic ability. So the transformation of the world into a world driven by data has given a fantastic chance to space to grow because they deliver and distribute data. And because of that, there is more and more actors. Let's take the good old actors which were just looking at the moon or things like that. They are totally submerged by a lot of actors looking for data. And it's not a surprise that Monsieur Musk, Monsieur Bezos are looking at space because they are eager of data.
What opportunities do you see for young enterprises and entrepreneurs, and what's the best route for them to take when financing and establishing their offering?
First, the young entrepreneurs, and due to this revolution in space, I think that has opened the door to a lot of actors, even not being in space. And because of that, the costs are decreasing, and that has opened, again, a door for more investment and with a hope to have return, because there is no investors without any return. And this is the reason why there is a lot of bottom-up momentum created by, let's say, almost each student or each young professional having a good idea. Because it always starts by a good idea. If you have no good idea, you will not find any investor. But if you have a good idea, which makes the difference, or at least which has the potential to make the difference, that you can find investors. And for me, the starting point is a group of good people. People are very important, having a good idea. If you are good people with good ideas, you will find investors because you can demonstrate that you can make the difference. And investors, they like the difference.
Traffic management. More satellites than ever are being launched. Do you see this having a negative impact on the satellite industry?
This is true that, again, this strong momentum of the bottom-up approach is multiplying the number of satellites almost every year. Now there is launch of satellites almost every day. We shall launch in the next 2 years as many satellites as during the 61st years of activities in space. So yes, there is more and more congestion in space, and as for any other domain of congestion, you need a management. Let's say in the 19th century there was a congestion of waste in Paris, and the Préfet Poubelle has created a management of waste in Paris. Fortunately, there was starting to have a congestion of car traffic on roads, and there was the Code de la Route in French to manage the traffic of automobile. And there was, in mid of 1900, there was the air traffic control, because there were more and more aircraft in the air needed an air traffic control management. So today we need a space traffic management, because if not, unfortunately, this congestion will become more and more an obstacle to the space development. So if you are a believer in space, you must support the space traffic management.
Jean-Jacques, thank you very much.
Thank you to you.